Hey everybody, welcome back to this Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Let's Play. I am Drac. Let's get right to it, shall we? Okay, so first of all, last time on the Mystic Quest Let's Play, previously on X-Men, we finally got into a giant, or we're trying to get our way to Windia, and right now we are fighting our way through a giant tree. So, insert Zelda reference here? Well, I guess you can't really do that, because, like, there's only been one dungeon where you were inside the Great Deku Tree. Yeah, I'm going back to Ocarina of Time, sorry. And I apologize in advance, guys. It is summer, so it's allergy season for me. I will try and cut out as much sniffling and coughing as much as I can, but there may be stuff that I just can't get rid of, so please bear with me. I promise. I'm a good LPer. If you don't believe me, go to youtube.com/DrakenShadow. Yeah, I know, that was a cheap plug. And it's kind of funny, because now me and Kaylee have the same axe. So I don't know how she went from, like, the normal axe to the giant's axe. She had to go through it like I did? I don't know. And I'm also still trying to figure out how she's 6 levels above me. Again, guys, it's not a big deal. It's a litmus. So, Kaylee's 31 right now. That's what Benjamin needs to aim for. I'll get off my high horse now. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the LP. I am really enjoying putting it out for you. And we're actually getting pretty close to the end. I just barely got done editing the last few parts, so we are very close. And if you hadn't already gotten that hint, I mean, we're 3 crystals in. So for those who haven't watched this before, we have already freed the Earth Crystal, the Fire Crystal, and the Water Crystal. And now we're making our way to the Air Crystal, or the Wind Crystal. I know, it gets confusing after a while. And right now we're kicking the crap out of toads that apparently live in a giant tree. And no, I'm not going to the actual dialogue that he gave. I'm not doing it. That just reeks of Rule 66. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep this family-friendly. I'm only going that far. And right now we're chopping mushrooms. So this is how Mario gets them in the Mushroom Kingdom. Makes sense now. Now, I was hoping some of the armor that we would get from the Lava Dome would start protecting us from Confusion and Petrify. And I think it only protects from Petrify, but not Confusion. So we will still have to deal with Confusion during the at least until the latter half of this LP, and then I think in the Wind Dungeon I will get the appropriate armor to deflect Confusion, at least for Benjamin. It's not a guarantee with your other party members that it'll protect them, but at least we can have Benjamin solely Confusion-free. Here I go, I'm chopping more mushrooms. Mario's got to get him in the Mushroom Kingdom somehow. So right now this would actually be a good time to... One of the questions that I get occasionally with both Drac and Shadow as well as this is, you know, what are you currently playing? What are you trying to make your way through? As I've said numerous times in these LPs, I am backed up. So I am playing a lot of games at once. I just barely... I've been working my way through the Kirby games and using the 20-year collection. And just barely beat Dreamland 2. I'm making my way into Superstar next, so I'm officially out of NES and Game Boy territory. It's all SNES from here on in. Somewhere they actually made a decision to start making just Kirby games on consoles. And obviously I'm working on a bunch of other projects for Drac and Shadow, as well as starting to work on the next major project from my channel. I'm not going to spoil it right here and now, but right now I'm kind of waiting for some fan suggestions to hit me so that I can do a bunch of other games. So it's kind of fairly obvious what the next... If you're a fan and you can kind of see where I'm going with the next game. So I'm not going to spoil it yet, but if you're a fan, you'll probably understand where I'm going. More evil toads, and now we've got worms. The tree's got worms. He needs to get that checked. I think so. Oh, and I don't have petrification protection, because I just got petrified. Okay, well, I'm interested in what that lava dome armor did. Maybe it just added more elemental resistance. That's one of the things that makes me laugh in older RPGs, is that you do get armor that will have fire resistance, or ice resistance, or stuff like that, and then eventually every RPG maker, major RPG maker, just sits there and goes, why do we put this in the game? Nobody goes for it. Everybody goes for strictly defense. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just integrate defense into these resistances. I mean, even MMOs are starting to do that. You know, World of Warcraft started with resistance gear, and now they don't even try anymore. Like, everything can hit everything. Every spell can hit everything. It's just a pain to program. It really is. You might as well just do a basic defense, you know, like a mental defense and a physical defense. Well, Benjamin has poison protection, I know that much. Guess Kaylee doesn't. Oh noes! Her magic is down! Yeah, if people are wondering why I'm not using magic in this part of the game, it's mainly because I actually do want to show kind of working your way through it. I promise later that, like right now, the magic is getting used for grinding, which you don't see on camera. So you will eventually see it, I promise. Like the last dungeon, I finally just said screw it, and I'm just gonna nuke through it with magic. And I just went over and bought a bunch of seeds, kind of thing. I haven't done that just yet. I promise it's coming. I'm just gonna nuke the crap out of dungeons eventually. I love the frog's look. He's just like, I am totally not happy with being here. Can you please get me out of this giant tree? And how appropriate, his name is Mad Toad. Yeah, he looks pretty mad. We got a red chest. So, just gotta kill these scorpions and then we are good. They're called Snippians. Sometimes the names are just plain cute. Oh, we got Meteor. So this is one of the last spells you usually get in any Final Fantasy game. Meteor can tend to be like the ultimate black magic spell in some, but most of the time it's like the ultimate group damage black magic spell. Whereas they will go with a single target damage, which will be Flare most of the time. Yes, I'm a Final Fantasy nerd, what can I say? Anyway, so back to what I was... I've got massive ADD, guys. What can I say? So one of the major games that I'm working through also is the Assassin's Creed series. I think I've said this before, I'm on Brotherhood. I'm almost done, so I can go to the last of the Ezio games, Revelations, and yes, I'm going to play it. A lot of major Assassin's Creed fans that I've met have said, yeah, you need to play Revelations, you need to finish Ezio's story, because it's essential to understand Altair and Ezio before you go into Connor, I think is his name, in 3. If I've got that wrong, please let me know. What else am I playing? I'm also making my way through the Devil May Cry games. I love the Devil May Cry games, and I have not played the new one, the DMC. And I know that it's gotten bad reviews, but I at least want to try it out, because there is a concept of Devil May Cry to love, and I'm hoping that they at least got that right. I mean, you know, Capcom did what Konami did. They handed their main license over to a European developer and expected magic. And in some cases it worked. I mean, with Konami and Lords of Shadow, even though it's under dispute, I think it worked. So I would love to see what this European developer did with, I think it's European, did with Devil May Cry, and see if they can kind of resurrect the franchise, because I can tell you, even after playing 4, that series wasn't going anywhere after that. And I'll tell you, there are 2 series that I would love to see continue from the PS2 era that haven't. One is Devil May Cry, and yeah, that carried into the PS3, but 4 is not the best of the series, I gotta say. I personally love 3. 3, I think they got absolutely right. And then the other series is Onimusha, which did really, really well on the PS2 up until, I think, the last game. So right now, I'm really not seeing a reason why Onimusha couldn't go on to PS3 era, or in this case, the PS4. I would love to see an Onimusha game for that. Maybe they just ran out of stories. I don't know. I would love to know why there has not been another Onimusha game. It can't just be because of 4. Maybe 2. 2 is mixed. Samurai's Destiny I didn't like as much, but I know people who love that way more than they did the first and third games, which in my opinion are the best that series had to offer. Again, how appropriate, you know. Devil May Cry has the same deal too. The first game is good just because it sets the pace. 2 is a flop. It's bad. 3 is great, and then 4 is meh. And that's where I land with Onimusha too. Is first is good, 2 is 3 is awesome, and then 4 is meh. You gotta love how we make our way through this tree. You know, we stab the doors to open them up. See, I was right. I was wrong in the Ice Pyramid. There are other dungeons where I would use the sword. Awesome. This is one of those cases where I have no problem being wrong. But yeah, I'm excited. I want to play DMC at least just to see if it holds true to what made the series good. And that's not the action. I mean, it really is the Devil May Care... How appropriate. Devil May Cry, Devil May Care. Attitude of Dante. And I would love to see if they actually hold true to that aspect of the series. Because this is a newer Dante, and one of the things that has had me worried about this reboot is that it's a darker Dante. You know, he's more embracing his demon side. And then I've seen some of the trailers later, and it looks like, yeah, he's still very Devil May Care. Doesn't really care about anybody but himself, but is willing to put his best foot forward and help people. So I'm interested to see what they do with it. I'm trying to think of something else I'm trying to play. Oh, I'm also, I think I mentioned this in an earlier LP. I'm making my way through Skyward Sword. Yes, I have not played Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I got the game 2 or 3 years ago when it came out, and it just sat there and got dust on my game shelf because I just didn't have the time. And I was also worried because it's motion control. And right now I just barely finished the first dungeon, which is a good introduction to the game. I'm trying to think. I think I just barely met the second race. So I met the Kikwi's, and now I'm talking to the people over at Eldin Volcano. I'm kind of happy and kind of not. I kind of wanted to see Gorons again, but, you know, we had the Goron who's trekking through the world, but I kind of wanted to see the volcano still belonging to the Gorons. I don't know what I think about that, but we'll see. I mean, I'm very early on in the game, so who knows? I probably barely scratched the surface. It's probably an even better volcano level later. I don't know. And some of you might be asking, are these dungeons getting longer? Yeah, a little bit. That's kind of the mode with RPGs, is that the further along in the games you get, the longer the dungeons get. Because obviously you're higher level, so they need to make it an endurance match to get to the boss, to see if you're using your items and your spells correctly. Because obviously you need to save some magic points for the boss and things like that. So if people are asking, you know, are these dungeons getting longer? Yeah, they are. The Alive Tree is one of the... Or the Giant Tree, I guess, is one of the longer ones. But trust me, we haven't even hit the longest elemental dungeon yet. In fact, one of the things I laugh at is the final dungeon, in comparison to length with the air dungeon, is considerably shorter. Just because there's a mechanic, I'm not going to spoil too much, but there's a mechanic in the air dungeon that just makes you cringe. And it makes the dungeon that much longer. Thankfully, you will not see a lot of that length, but, well... I remember trekking through it to record it, and, oh man, it was long. I'm willing to deal with a long dungeon if you... Wow, my voice cracked there. I don't know what happened there. I'm willing to go through a long dungeon, but you have to keep me engaged. And this is one of those games where, as a beginner concept, it doesn't keep me as engaged because I know how to play an RPG. Now, for somebody who's starting out, it's going to do it. It'll be fine because it's going to be one of those final tests. And I think I just realized, yep, I gotta go back up here. I'm just walking in circles. No, I'm not. I realize that now I have to go use the vines. The Giant Tree shares one thing in common with the air dungeon, which is simply, am I on the right floor? Am I on the right place? Am I in the right place? Okay. Well, then in that case. Oh, thank you, Kaylee. Oh, and I didn't even realize I leveled up. Yay! So I'm like 5 levels below Kaylee. That's okay. By the time this is done, I'll probably be 27 or 28. There we go. Okay, so down the vine I go, because heaven forbid I actually don't talk about this game enough. Just trying to keep you guys interested, that's all. Trying to give you good commentary. Yay! We can keep going. More worms. This guy seriously needs, like, a major check for worms and then call an exterminator. This guy's got major bug problems. Trying to remember. I think this actually anchors me. Yeah, I don't think this got me in the right place. Nope. No. And now I have to backtrack a little bit. That's one of the problems where when it's a what floor am I on dungeon, because you have to sit there and trek through and figure out, okay, am I going the right direction? If not, where do I need to go? Am I in the right part of the floor? Am I going to be able to access everything? Oh no, I'm blocked off. Oi. More chopping of mushrooms. This guy apparently likes his shrooms. Just saying. And now we're back to where we need to be. Back to the vine. Which will take us to where we were originally. And I think in this dungeon I will actually get it's either in this one or the wind dungeon where I'm actually going to get my final upgrade to the sword. And I'll start using that strictly. I really wish I knew what that armor upgrade from Lava Dome protects against, because it's not poison. I think poison came fairly early. Oh, and the climbing maze. This actually frustrated me as a kid because I couldn't get the timing of the buttons right. And so I remember struggling through that the first time. Oh, it was so bad. Oh, the stories I could tell you about how crappy an RPG player I was as a kid. And now I just sit there and go, man, what a noob I was. Holy moly. And we're actually going to go ahead and end this part as we continue to trek on in the Giant Tree. Once again, I am Drac, and this is a Let's Play for Final Fantasy Mystic Quest on the Super NES. We'll be back.